center of Israel. And as you can see, it's very hard to cross it with a big orbit or big formation of tanks, etc. There are only 5 passages, so it's easy to defend. And the area is wide open, so you can deploy here 2 divisions once it's needed. And in our region, it's needed every couple of years. We need this defensive border, the Jordan Valley, because it gives us, first of all, the minimal strategic depth of only 40 miles between here and the Israeli seashore. It gives us a decent way to protect ourselves if there will be an attack from the outside, and it gives us also the ability to fight terrorism effectively. If Israel don't control this area, the Iranians will just enter it in the same way that they enter South Lebanon, the same way that they...
يا ريت انه احنا غير انه نحكي عن الخطر الشيعي والخطر الايراني، نحط حلقه ونركز على الخطر الاسرائيلي.
قضيتي بقى مع اللي بيقول لك انا مسلم ومن اهل القبله وبقول لا اله الا الله محمد رسول الله وذبح 4 مليون في العراق وذبح 1.5 مليون في سوريا. تعال بقى لليهود. اليهود بتقول لي في حصار في غزه. اليهود عملوا حصار على غزه وسمحوا ل 18 سلعه تدخل لا تؤثر على الناس. الشيعة وشيعة إبليس في العراق وفي سوريا النصيري الملحد بشار وجيشه الملحد لما بيحاصر الناس بيموتوا ويأكلوا الكلاب والقطط ولا يسمح بالسلعة تخرج. يبقى اليهود أرحم. احنا عايزين نفضح هؤلاء الشيعة الذين يسمون أنفسهم مسلمين، لأن الناس مخدوعين فيهم. زي حماس عندك رايحة تهني قاسم سليماني، تمام. الجهاد طبعا تشيع وانت تعلم هذا، شلحه الله في نار جهنم قاعد في إيران. يبقى الشيعي بيجي يتتشيع يا تترك ارضك يا تقتل. لا اليهودي يا عم سابك في 48 وعمل لك عرب 48 وقال لك خد الجنسيه الاسرائيليه الصهيونيه واقعد معانا عيش مواطن عادي. الشيعي ما بيديلكش الخيار ده.
אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל. היא מדינת ישראל.
שרה אדמה בידיו, מי שלא שרה אדמה, מי שלא טעם גאווה מימיו, מי שלא טעם גאווה, מי שלא ידע אהבה בחייו, מי שלא ידע אהבה.
ואלה הידיים עוד לא בלי תקווה, עוד לא מצאתי מים באמצע המדבר, עוד לא ציירתי פרח, עוד לא גיליתי דרך, הוביל אותי הדרך מול ענן. עוד לא אהבתי דם, הרוח והשמש על פניי. עוד לא אמרתי דם, כתן לו אם לא עכשיו, ומתי. עוד לא אהבתי דם, הרוח והשמש על פניי. עוד לא אמרתי דם, ואם לא עכשיו, ומתי.
נשאיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה
חזקה מכל הפחד,
לא ניפול, לא נירד, כי אנחנו לא לבד.
יש לנו
השם אחד, יש תקווה, נשאיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד. לא ניפול, לא נירד, כי אנחנו לא לבד. יש לנו השם אחד, יש תקווה.
Israel is universally known as a startup nation with a unique ecosystem for innovation and incubation. The credit for this goes to the Israeli entrepreneurs. You have made Israel a strong, stable and innovative economy. You have made a country of 8 million people sign as a global powerhouse of technology. Whether it is water tech or agri-tech, whether it is a food production, its processing or conservation, Israel has been shining example with new breakthroughs and advances. Whether it is physical or virtual security, whether it is on land, water or space, your technology has won admiration.
אני הרצל שמעון ביטון, בן פרחה וניסים זיכרונם לברכה. אח ל11 אחים, ובהם יעקב ושמשון זיכרונם לברכה. נכדו של רבי מסעוד בן שבת, זכר צדיק וקדוש לברכה. מדליק משואה זו בהודיה לשם יתברך, שהחיינו וקיבלנו והגיענו לזמן הזה לכבודם של אזרחי ישראל העומדים איתן מול התקפות הטרור כבר יותר מ100 שנים. לכבוד הצוותים הרפואיים, הארגונים והאנשים הרבים העוטפים ומחבקים אותנו נפגעי הטרור ומחזקים את רוחנו. לכבוד עם ישראל שאין כמוהו בעולם. ולתפארת מדינת ישראל.
All Americans not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. When I took office, I committed to fixing this broken immigration system. And I began by doing what I could to secure our borders. But today, our immigration system is broken, and everybody knows it. There are actions I have the legal authority to take as president. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. We'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel, so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. We expect people who live in this country to play by the rules. We expect that those who cut the line will not be unfairly rewarded. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half-century. And to those members of Congress who question my authority to make our immigration system work better, question my authority, question my authority, question my authority, question my authority, or question the wisdom of me acting where Congress has failed, I have one answer. Pass a bill.
And probably have read his book, Son of Hamas, and if you didn't, it's still on the shops, and more than 500,000 copies were already sold only in this country. Mossad was born in Ramallah, the eldest son of Sheikh Hassan Youssef, founder of Hamas in the West Bank. From the time Youssef was young, it was expected that he would one day become a Hamas leader. He already began rising through the ranks as a teenager and was arrested by Israel in 1996. While in prison, he decided to accept a Shin Bet offer to become an informant. Beginning with his release from prison in 1997, Youssef was considered by Shin Bet to be the most reliable Hamas source, nicknamed the Green Prince. His intelligence information exposed Hamas cells and prevented dozens of suicide bombings in Israel and saved dozens and hundreds of lives. Yusuf moved to the United States in 2007, and after 3 years was finally granted political asylum in 2010. Mossad, the floor is yours for opening remarks.
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity. As some of you know already, that I am not politically correct. And I don't believe that the politician can provide the solution, especially when the politician does not have a moral ground that they stand on. I came up with the allegory of the sheep. Maybe some of you heard me saying it somewhere else. The sheep thinks that the shepherd, their best friend. The shepherd provides water, food, and creates the illusion for the sheep that it's protector. Sometimes wearing a mask, a political mask, in the West Bank or Tunisia or other locations, sometimes wearing an ideological and religious mask in Gaza or maybe other capitals of the Arab world. They have their own way to deceive the sheep and make the sheep dependent on them. But unfortunately, by the time the sheep realized that the shepherd was not their best friend or the protector of their interest, they're already in the slaughterhouse. This is the reality of what's happening in the Middle East. Leaderships of the Palestinian people, my people, by the way, and I have the authority to say this. If they disown me, if they label me as a traitor, they can say whatever they want to say. I sacrificed a lot for the sake of Palestine, of Islam, even of Hamas. I spent 27 months in Israeli prisons. I grew up witnessing the first Palestinian Intifada, and I had no idea what was going on. As a child, I was fed with hatred that Israel was our enemy, and Israel was the source of our suffering, while the Palestinian leaderships, from Yasser Arafat to Mahmoud Abbas to Abu Jihad, all of them were sitting in Tunisia, spending billions of dollars. In the meantime, they were sending children to die, throwing stones, facing Israeli soldiers. I was one of them. They used us. They sent us to the slaughterhouse. They wanted us to die. The shepherd thought, how many sheep I'm going to sacrifice today to get the attention of the world, so maybe we get some more funds. So they decided to slaughter 100 sheep, 200 sheep. Then Hamas came later on, 20 years later, and they did the same thing, using children and women as a human shield in Gaza Strip. Then we have now a new mask for the shepherd, and written on it BDS, to manipulate the international community, create chaos. They're very good at doing that. Whether you call it intifada, you create chaos. In a state of chaos, you distract everybody, and the thief knows how to find a way. Same thing now, on a global scale. They are manipulating the friends of Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, the only true democracy. While the shepherd, by the way, is not legitimate anyway. You know, somebody, they sit here in this house of shame. I agree with you, Mr. Daniel. I agree. They don't represent the Palestinian people anyway. Who are you representing? The Palestinians in the West Bank or the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip? You are representing greed. Wearing the mask with what so-called Palestinian cause. You're a liar. You're a Lucifer. And at some point, you will be unmasked. If they were sincere and truthful in their approach towards peace, they would go and educate the Palestinian people, first of all, of the actual history, not their history. To compare Israel to apartheid of the South Africa. This is no comparison. The state of Israel, I know terrorists when I spent time in prison who had blood on their hands of Jewish people, and they had the right to go to schools and study and achieve higher degrees from Israeli schools. In Jerusalem, the Israeli government give the Muslims the right to worship on Temple Mount, and in the meantime does not give the right to the Jewish people to practice their religious freedom on Temple Mount. Israel, before BDS, which is, BDS is only a continuation to what has been happening for many years since its establishment. I ask myself, a country like Indonesia or other countries thousands of miles away, Muslim countries, why are they boycotting Israel? What Israel has to do with them? But they have been unifying to delegitimize the state of Israel, not since the beginning or the establishment of BDS. BDS is just a new face. It's the new mask. I say those people need to be exposed to public. They are creating, as they created the chaos and the division within the Palestinian society, and they blamed Israel, now they are doing it on a global scale to make everybody hate Israel and to turn Israel's friends against it, to turn other democracies against Israel. It's their game. They're very good at it. One of the most powerful tools to stop them, I say, stop giving them money. Instead, I'm about to conclude. Instead of empowering them against the Palestinian people, empower the Palestinian people, empower the individual against them. Create jobs, create opportunities. This is what we need. I'm actually very pleased to know and about this example. Those settlements that they say settlements, those are great communities and great opportunities to create and establish more industrial zones, to create job opportunities for the Palestinian people. This is what they need. They need education, they need economy, they need prosperity, they need to feel safe. This is more important than all the political and religious agendas that their leaderships wear to deceive them and deceive the rest of the world. This is from my own experience. I know that this is harsh, but in times like this, when I see the separation, when I see the division, somebody has to say something. They are not trustworthy. They are the enemies of the Palestinian people. And I'm not talking only about the Hamas extremists, also I'm talking about the what's so-called moderate hypocrites. There are two types of Palestinian leaderships. One is terrorist, and the second is hypocrite. And the hypocrite leadership, by the way, is more dangerous, in my opinion, than the terrorists. Because the terrorists, you know how to deal with them. But the hypocrite leadership, you don't know their true color, you don't know how to respond to them. I think this is enough for now.
Hamas, a listed terrorist group, was found using UNRWA schools and hospitals in Gaza to store rockets and weapons designed to kill Israeli citizens. Yet the Prime Minister has planned $15 million in new funding for UNRWA. Even worse, UNRWA staff have been suspended and fired after inciting anti-Semitic violence. Why is the Prime Minister restoring funding to an organization that's been linked to Hamas?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I was happy to welcome the UN Secretary General to Ottawa last night to highlight that, in fact, Canada is willing and open to re-engaging with the world in a positive, constructive way, because, quite frankly, Canadians expect us to be helpful in the world. And as we look at different ways of engaging, ways of supporting the United Nations in the good work that it does, we will, of course, look at all the various things that this government, the past government, canceled for political reasons.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. You know, the 1960s and 1970s, usually the Koreans see Israel and the Israel people through the prism of security and the economy. You have the same problems of security, and also you did not have natural resources. We followed you for the economic development and also national security. But in the 1990s, Koreans started to see the Israel and also Jewish people through the prism of a culture. We found that Israel has a very good musicians and also the world famous filmmakers, and we slowly catch the meaning of Israel culture. Wow. And this is very good for us to learn from Israel and the Jewish people.
I understand that many Israeli books were translated to Korean language, and books of writers such as Ephraim Kishon and Amos Oz. Some of them became bestsellers. Even the Bible, the Talmud, right?
Yes. There are many books, the Israeli books, Jewish books, Hebrew books translated into Korean. They became very popular among the Korean readers. And also, I want to show you that this one called Talmud. So, in each Korean family has at least one copy of Talmud. This is, I think, more than the Israeli family, because the Korean mothers wants to know how so many Jewish people became genius. So they think that
it's a big compliment.
It is not, because already the 23% of Nobel Prize winners are Jewish people. So Korean women wants to know what is the secret. They found that the secret is in this book. That's why they read first, and then they read to their children from very early age.
Everything started at noon today with a knock on the door. Who is it at this hour?
Who is it at this hour?
Two hipsters with well-groomed beards are at the door. Probably want to sell me an encyclopedia. Told them, hello, ever heard of Wikipedia? And slammed the door. Who are you anyway?
Hey, get out! Hey!
Well, you know, we ain't spoiled. The Assyrians took over the living room. So we settled for the bedroom. So it's now 750 BC. In about 2,750 years, we'll have some quiet here. We were just falling asleep when I heard the buzzer. A few more Assyrians have arrived. God knows from where. Assyria, maybe?
In the name of Nebuchadnezzar, king of all Babylonians, we claim this house for ourselves.
Actually, the kids' room is kind of awesome when you want some peace and quiet. You need a lot of patience when the Hellenists and the Romans pop up with no invite one after the other. A nice Greek told me, in the name of Alexander the Great.
We claim this a house.
So how do you say in Greek, how you doing? At least the Romans hooked us up with aqueducts, drainage, and running water. In the early Arabic era, they were really into music.
Come on, leave my stereo alone.
I don't remember installing that kind of buzzer. A guy with a blonde beard tells me he came in the name of Richard Lionheart. Oh, come on, dude, in the middle of Game of Thrones! We try to find some peace and quiet, so I asked Rachel to check things out with the Crusaders, but she was like,
But Crusaders, these are Mamluks!
it's night soon, and I have no clue how long this whole thing's gonna last. Lucky for us, the Turks and the Ottoman Empire are in the house.
Turkish delight, anyone? Turkish delight?
And then it was quiet. Is it finally over? Has everyone left my house, my land of Israel?
Morning. In the name of the British Empire, we
Claim this house for ourselves.
How could you have possibly known what I was about to say?
Well, we are living here for like 3,000 years.
So it didn't take long for that nice Brit to get it that this is not Europe.
Well, in the name of the League of Nations, we give you back your house. All you have to do is sign here, 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 and here. We can smash them today, love.
Finally, a state of our own in the land of Israel.
And we just heard yesterday, the news about the leader of the opposition in Israel agreed upon a contract with Mahmoud Abbas that if he would have been one day the prime minister, or he were the prime minister, he would sign right away the peace treaty with Mahmoud Abbas, giving back 100% of the territory up until 67 line, with a swap of 4%, Jerusalem in international supervision, and that's it, and Am Israel Chai. And I say, what does it mean? What about Gaza Strip? Today, June 16. June 07, Hamas took over Gaza Strip in a military coup. Mahmoud Abbas, his last visit to Gaza was 9.5 years ago. Have you ever seen a president of an area with 45% of his people that he didn't visit for 9.5 years? What does it mean? How can we negotiate with him about the peace treaty, giving back 100% of Gaza we already gave, giving 100% of the West Bank, and again, you are not ruling and you're not running the Gaza Strip. What about the Oslo Agreement? 23 years after, do you call it a success? I'm not sure. 23 years after. We started with a debate about one-state solution or two-state solution. But practically you are living today in a three-state solution. The State of Israel, the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, and the so-called Palestinian Authority under Hamas in Gaza Strip. So where is the lesson that you are learning from mistakes you've made? I'm telling you, it's in Hebrew we call it chasamba. In English it's probably hardy boys or whatever.
Today is the day of Eid, where the whole Muslim world is celebrating Eid with their families. And I'm here standing in solidarity with the mother of Yafa, who was killed last week while she was sleeping in her bed. I want to say to the mother of Yafa, you are not alone, we are with you. And I want to pass the message to the world. Please show me in which religious book it is written, killing of human is the way to peace. Sorry, killing of humans is not the way to peace. So I request, please stop killing Jews, please stop killing Israel, and I stand with Israel.
Attorney, entrepreneur, private investor, now thinker about the Jewish nation or people. I want to ask you a question about parallels that you might see with the Jewish establishment through the 20th century, whether it's beginnings of Zionism and Jabotinsky and the socialist bent through the 1940s with Stephen Weiss, and what's going on today with AIPAC and other things that are making enough references for you to pick up on. Is the Jewish establishment in a place of denial, or go with don't rock the boat, or is the liberal bias just overwhelming?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I think about the Jews. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the Jewish establishment, so to speak. I mean, I'm not seized with what happens after Abe Foxman, you know, the fears about what happens after Abe retires or something like that. Instead of answering the question, let me answer the question I want to answer. As Jews have acquired power in the United States, economic and political and social power, I think they need to be mindful that there are occasions when the use of power or the purposes of the power which they have acquired, is not to be on the side of power. It is to exercise power in pursuit of their views. And what I fear is a Jewish establishment that just wants to be on the good side of almost anyone who happens to be in the Oval Office. I mean, there is more to life than getting invited to the White House Hanukkah party so you can, you know, light the menorah with Mrs. Obama or whatever, and then have a picture in your office. For what? And look, more specifically, no, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. But you just it's important because, look, I mean, my standard joke is, thank God I was born a Jew, because otherwise I'd be a raging anti-Semite. Because I tear my hair out all the time at my fellow Jews. But rare is it in history that we've been blessed to live in a country where we can say anything we want and actually get away with it. And it is a scandal, it seems to me, if we fail to live up to the promise of our American citizenship to do all we can to assure the survival of the Jewish state and the Jewish people. So that's what I'd say. Yeah, there's more I could say, but I won't. Israel will never. Israel should not expect that it will be loved for its goodness or its beneficence, or for the fact that Syrian kids are being treated in Israeli hospitals, or for the fact that Israel has made this and that concession for peace and ceded more territory than any other country on earth as a percentage of its overall territory. Israel will never be loved because of conspicuous acts of magnanimity. Okay, Israel will only be loved because it's respected. The only people who like it, no one says, "Oh, I love Israel because they took risks for peace." You know, people who say, "You took risks for peace," well, why aren't you taking more risks for peace? Why aren't you annihilating yourself on the road to peace? Because these are people who love Jews when they're in Auschwitz or on the verge of going to Auschwitz. You know, because then they imagine they're gonna be like the Swedish diplomat. They're gonna be saving them, handing them passports, and they'll be magnificent to the Jews who are pathetic. This is the people who like Israel, okay, are the people who say, "God damn it, the Israelis are the guys who are going to take care of business when all is said and done." And that's important to remember. There's a lot of philo-Semitism in the world, but that philo-Semitism comes from people who respect Israeli strength. Okay, I was at an AIPAC speech not so long ago, and there was this panel before I spoke. I'm like, oh my God, there has to be a panel before I speak. What are these people wasting their time for? I could be speaking for 2 hours as opposed to 1 hour. So, to my astonishment, okay, it was a very interesting panel, and they were all Christian lay leaders describing what it is that they like about Israel. And one of them was saying, one guy said, I like Israel because it's a country that gets things done, that acts, that is courageous. And another person, a Christian pastor, who said, the land was promised to Israel. Therefore, I'm for it. That's a consideration, by the way, when Israel considers the cost-benefit analysis of giving up ceding land for so-called peace. Remembering that one of the reasons why millions of Americans love Israel is because it has the land, not because it's prepared to give it up. That's something to think about. Israel will not do well. Israel will not do well in the world if it has to throw itself at the world's mercy. Israel will only do well in the world if it earns, by dint of courage and wit and nerve, the world's respect.
Brett, on that note, we thank you, and thanks to everyone for joining us.
I want to thank Senator Graham for once again leading the effort on this legislation. Taylor Force was an outstanding young American with a distinguished record of service at the military academy and then overseas. He was what every parent could hope their son could be. We're to make sure that the record that he put together is remembered by Americans and is a positive force for change in the world. That taxpayer dollars are no longer going to subsidize the murder of American citizens or Israeli citizens, and that the Palestinian people are no longer subsidized with American money in a leadership that encourages this kind of brutal murder with graduated payments for the more and worse mayhem that these terrorists wreak. So the Force family has my commitment, has all of our commitments, that we're going to do everything in our power to make this bill into a law, to commemorate Taylor's memory, and to ensure that his sacrifice is not forgotten and that it has a lasting positive legacy in the world.
هذا الكلام موجه للخنازير الفلسطينية التي لا تحسن شيئا إلا سب وشتم المملكة العربية السعودية والمواطنين السعوديين، مع كامل الاحترام للأقلية الفلسطينية الشريفة. مدى عقود واقتصادنا يتم حلبه منكم. مليارات المليارات ذهبت إليكم، كان بحاجتها المواطن وذهبت إليكم. نعم، آثرناكم على أنفسنا، آثرناكم على مواطنينا، وماذا أتانا منكم؟ أنتم تماما كالكلاب، الكلاب الرديئة التي لا تنبح إلا في وجه من يطعمها. ارتزقت بقضيتكم، ارتزقت بديننا المشترك، ارتزقت بلغتنا المشترك، وفي نفس الوقت تكنون لنا أشد مشاعر العداء. أنتم تعادوننا أكثر مما يعادينا الإسرائيليين. أنتم تتمنون زوالنا قبل أن تزول إسرائيل. أنتم تتمنون لنا أسوأ ما يتمناه إنسان لإنسان. أنتم كالكلاب، إن تحمل عليه يلهث وإن تتركه يلهث. أنتم صفحة قذرة في تاريخنا وذكرى سيئة لا نود تذكرها أبدا، نريد قطعها والتخلص منها تماما اليوم والآن. ضحينا بعلاقاتنا مع إسرائيل. أكثر دول الشرق الأوسط تقدم بسببكم أنتم وبسبب قضيتكم التي استغليتم بها ديننا ولغتنا وعروبتنا وكل شيء. استرخصتم قضيتكم فاسترخصكم العالم. كنتم مشردين فبنينا لكم البيوت، كنتم مرضى بنينا لكم المستشفيات، كنتم جوعى أرسلنا لكم المليارات. وماذا حصل لنا؟ وماذا جنينا من هذا الدعم؟ جنينا وقفتكم مع العدو الذي لم يقدم ولا 1% مما قدمناه لكم. فاللعنة عليكم واللعنة على قضيتكم. قضيتكم لا تعنينا بأي شكل من الأشكال. نحن المملكة العربية السعودية وأنتم لسنا بحاجة لكم.
Shalom, I am Captain Ali Ismail. This is my message for all the people Jewish in this world. Thank you for stand with Kurdistan independent. Thank you, Prime Minister of the Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, we love you. Shalom.
Let me say, Canada is a strong ally and close friend of the Jewish state. When Canada works to counter extremism and terrorism, particularly in the Middle East, Israel is always a natural partner and a close ally. Canada stands shoulder to shoulder with Israel. We have an unwavering, ironclad commitment to the security of Israel and its neighbors. We support Israel's right to its security, its right to live in peace. We stand with Israel and with Jewish communities in Canada and around the world. And we recognize, sadly, that now more than ever that support is needed, and it's important to stand up and say it out loud.
קולות בלבב פנימה נפש יהודי הומיה ולפתי מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה
Israel, Volk Gottes, erwählt und doch verstoßen. Die ganze Welt hasst dich und das ist noch der Lohn, denn du hast alles Leid gesehen. Und der Neid der vielen kostete Millionen von Seelen. Der einst Geliebten, doch schäme dich nicht deiner Schönheit, denn du sollst leben. Einer nahm das Land von den Feinden und hat es dir gegeben. Trotz Genozid und Holocaust bist du auferstanden von toten Gebeinen, hochgeholt und verwandelt. Jetzt bist du wieder an deinem rechten Platz als Licht in dieser durchkämpften Nacht. Wieder ist es finster, in der Welt. Doch solange du atmest, scheint dein Licht, das uns erhält. Ja, du bist wahrhaftig die Hoffnung der Nationen. Und für das, was du hast, wird dich jedes Land noch loben. Segen auf Israel und Frieden für die Nachbarn. Er hat dich auserwählt, mit ihm ist alles machbar.
תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות המושי בארצנו, ארץ ציון Jerusalem.
Solange die kostbare Mauer vor dem Auge erscheint und über die Zerstörung des Tempels sein Jude Tränen weint, solange das Wasser in Fülle im Jordan fließt und du der Erinnerung gedenkst und nach vorne siehst, solange eine jüdische Seele in deinem Herzen wohnt, Augen nach Zion gerichtet, das auf dem Berge thront, solang gibt es Hoffnung seit 2000 Jahren, ein freies Volk in seinem Land, Zion, Jerusalem. Kehre heim, Israel, weil du dann Frieden hast. Dein Arzt wohnt in Jerusalem und Balsam ist in Gilead. Dein Arzt ist Gott, er ist Heilung und die Antwort. Der Gott von Abraham, Isaak und Jakob. Geliebtes Israel, vertraue ganz auf ihn. Er schlägt die Feinde in die Flucht und gibt dann den Sieg. Der Bund mit seinem Volk besteht immer vor Gott und er hält sein Wort in Ewigkeit und so lang gibt es Hoffnung.
תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות החופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים, ירושלים,
Beide Seiten meiner Familie waren überzeugte Nationalsozialisten. Mein einer Urgroßvater war unter anderem daran beteiligt, die Synagoge in Darmstadt niederzubrennen. Die Wahrheit darüber hat mich sehr erschüttert. Ich stehe zu Israel, ich liebe Israel und ich möchte das Schweigen über meine Familie brechen und sagen, dass so etwas nie wieder passieren darf.
Mein Großvater war Sohn eines einflussreichen Pastors und Schriftstellers. Er war mitverantwortlich für den Tod von mehr als 20.000 Juden aus Antwerpen und ganz Belgien. Und ich stehe heute hier, um dieses Schweigen über meiner Familie zu zerbrechen und zu sagen, ich stehe an der Seite Israels und gegen modernen Antisemitismus.
Mein Großvater lebte mit seiner Familie Tür an Tür zu einem Konzentrationslager. Ich war erschüttert, als ich die Wahrheit über meine Familie herausfand. Heute stehe ich hier, um ein klares Zeichen gegen Antisemitismus und für den Staat Israel zu setzen.
Alle meine 4 Urgroßväter waren Nazis. Einer hat Propaganda gedruckt und 3 waren als Wehrmacht in ganz Europa und haben gemordet, geplündert und geraubt. Ich stehe als Nachfahre hier und will sagen, dass sowas nie wieder passieren darf. Ich will die Wahrheit über meine eigene Familiengeschichte aufdecken. Und ich stelle mich zu Israel als ein Freund Israels und will ein Statement machen gegen modernen Antisemitismus.
Ich komme aus einer Familie von überzeugten Nazis, die alles für Hitler und für das deutsche Volk gemacht haben. Was damals passiert ist, darf nie wieder passieren. Ich stehe heute hier, um ein Zeichen zu setzen gegen modernen Antisemitismus und für den Staat Israel.
النساء في الجنة قليل، أكثرهم رجال. أكثر من يدخلون من الأمم ما قال لا يدخلن الجنة، حتى رائحة الجنة التي تشم من مسيرة 500 سنة والله ما يجدونه. لماذا؟ لأنها سافرة متبرجة، لأنها مخصرة في المجمعات، لأنها وضعت العطورات والزينة، لأنها حادثت الشباب، لأنها صورت نفسها وأرسلته في تلك البرامج الخبيثة. بل إن الله وصفها وصفا دقيقا حتى وصف أثداءها، فقال جل جلاله: إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكواعب أترابا. أتدري ما معنى وكواعب أترابا؟ أي أثداء الحور. الله جل جلاله يصف أثداء، نعم، حتى يعلمك ما في الجنة، وأنه لا حياء في هذه الأمور، حتى يجعلك تتنافس وتتسابق. إنها رسالة إلى من ضيع الجنة بشهوة ساعة. اسمع أثداء الحوريات كيف: وكواعب أترابا، أي نواهد الحور كالرمان ليست متدلية إلى أسفل، زيادة في الحسن والجمال. فأين المحبون للنساء؟ أين المشتاقون للحور؟ كم هم الذين باعوا الحوريات لأجل فتاة سافرة فاجرة؟ قال الله جل وعلا: حتى الجماع والمعاشرة ذكره الله حتى يشوقك، حتى يعلمك ما في الجنة. ليس فقط أكل وشرب ونعيم، بل هناك جماع ليس كجماع الدنيا، وهناك نساء ليسوا كنساء الدنيا. قال ربي جل جلاله: إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم على الأرائك متكئون. قال أبو مجلس: قلت لابن عباس: ما شغلهم؟ الله يقول إن أصحاب الجنة في شغل، هل عندهم أشغال؟ عندهم ما انتهى النصب والتعب والعبادة؟ ما الذي شغلهم يا ابن عباس؟ قال: شغلهم افتضاض الأبكار، شغلهم افتضاض الأبكار. هل في الجنة جماع ومعاشرة؟ نعم. عن ابن عباس قال: قيل يا رسول الله أنفضي إلى نسائنا في الجنة كما نفضي إليهن في الدنيا؟ قال: والذي نفس محمد بيده إن الرجل ليفضي في الغداة الواحدة إلى 100 عذراء. 100 عذراء. والأعجب والأغرب أنه كلما عاد إليها وجدها بكرا وزيادة زيادة في اللذة والأنس. يجدها بكر كما كانت، ليست كنساء الدنيا تفضل بكارة وتنتهي، بل كلما خرج وزار العزيز الحميد ثم عاد يجدها بكرا. أهل الجنة يعطون قوة 100 في المأكل والمشرب والمطعم والجماع، حتى في الجماع، لأن هناك من أهل الجنة من قد يزوج ب100 وربما بأكثر، وهو يعطى قوة 100، يعني يستطيع في غداة واحدة يجامع 100 امرأة أو 100 حورية من نساء الجنة.
Kia ora, talo falava, and good morning. I am a patriotic Kiwi. Born and raised in West Auckland, I am an indigenous person with cultural and ethnic roots flowing from New Zealand Māori, Samoa, Italy, and England. I am proud to be a mixture of all these backgrounds. It makes me who I am. It is a part of my identity. Because of this, I feel close to my ancestors, and I respect them because they are the reason that I am here. And so, I am proud to be a Kiwi and a person of indigenous descent, and I'm also proud to be a Zionist. And why would a Maori Samoan from the other side of the world identify as a Zionist, as someone who supports the Jewish people in the land of Israel? Well, for a number of reasons. I, like many of my people, recognize the Jews as the indigenous people of Israel. The Jews have undeniable connections to the land of their ancestors, links that are proven by archaeology, history, literature, and genetics. The Jews are the tangata whenua of Israel. I could recite from memory my Samoan genealogy back to the 1800s, and I have the documents to prove my ancestry all the way back to the 1400s. My ancestors' connection to Samoa is indisputable. But the Jews, they can prove their connection to the land of Israel going back thousands of years. Everyone has heard of King David. He reigned over the kingdom of Israel 3,000 years ago. The ruins, the scriptures, the artifacts, they all prove that Israel is the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. And now, after centuries in exile, millions of Jews have returned to their land. I am here in the Otara flea market, a bustling, colorful place of racial diversity and plurality, a multicultural place where people from different racial and social backgrounds can all come together and participate in their daily affairs without being persecuted, living and going about their lives in peace. Likewise, but on a far greater and more complex scale, the state of Israel, as the only democratic beacon in the Middle East, fosters this beautiful ideal of diversity within unity. Jews, Africans, and Arabs, Muslims, Christians, and atheists all live together in a free and democratic Israel. There are those who label Israel an apartheid state, but what could be further from the truth? Arab citizens of Israel have greater rights and protections than Arabs in any of the surrounding nations. Arabs serve as professors, members of parliament, police officers, and even as judges. Israel may be far from perfect, but apartheid it is not. Israel, as a nation, personifies inclusion, not exclusion. Surely such a reality is worth cherishing and protecting, encouraging and supporting. No one questions the right of Samoans to live in Samoa or Maori to live freely here in New Zealand, and yet the right of Jews to a Jewish state is constantly challenged. As the indigenous people of Israel, the Jews have every right to flourish in their ancestral, historic homeland. It is because I am a proud Kiwi and an indigenous person that I'm also a Zionist. I acknowledge the ancestors of the present-day Jews. They should be respected, that their hopes and dreams of self-determination and diverse unity are not in vain. Kia ora and whawhai lava, I am a Zionist.
مساجد في فلسطين وتمنعون الناس من الوصول إليها، تمنعون الأشخاص من الوصول إلى المسجد الأقصى المبارك يوميا، تمنعون النساء من الوصول إلى المسجد الأقصى يوميا، تعتقلون، تبعدون. احنا مشكلتنا مش مع اليهود، ما تحط الكلمات في تمنا، احنا مشكلتنا مع الصهيونيين، واحنا مشكلتنا مع الاستيطان،
يعني
واحنا مشكلتنا مع
الاحتلال. يهودي واطي، انت تريد يهودي واطي الصغير.
انا ما حكيت، انا ما عندي مسميات لا يهودي واطي ولا يهودي عالي. انت مشكلتك البسيطه جدا انك انت بتفكر حالك، مشكلتك انك انت بتفكر حالك انك انت شعب الله المختار اللي فوق كل القوانين الموجوده.
هذا امر
مسموح لك انك انت
تستخدم
اي شيء.
لكم دينكم لي ديني.
لا 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 لا
لا انت تتكلم على موضوع ديني. المسيحي مؤمن بالمسيحيه، المسلم بفضل الاسلام، واليهودي باليهوديه. كل هذه الشغلات حطها على الجانب. انا لا اسمح لك ان تغير وتشوش، وبالاضافه تقول كلام والدعايه ضد العنصر اليهودي. انتم لا تقبلوا ان اليهود الذين كانوا كأهل ذمة في الدول العربية اليوم هو الشعب مستقل، وهذا هو المحور المركزي غير ما تسمى القضية الفلسطينية. القضية الفلسطينية هي باتجاه إلى أوروبا.
علمكم ومعرفتكم يا مسلمين. اليوم المسلم يعيش في عصر من راسه إلى رجله الكل من صنع غيره. هذا من صنع نيوزيلندا، وهذا من صنع النمسا، وهذا من صنع أمريكا، وهذه من صنع سويسرا، وحذائي من صنع إيطاليا، ولباسي صوف جاي من بريطانيا. لا نملك شيئا في حياتنا يا إخواني. ليش ترفعون أيديكم في الصلاة وتقول اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين؟ ينصركم على من؟ على من؟ تنتصرون ليش؟ يكون النصر بالجهلة؟ 30% من المسلمين لا يقرؤون ولا يكتبون. ما فيش جامعة في العالم نعتز بأنها جامعة تخرج العقول والإطارات التي تسير الدنيا. نحن هم لا نقرأ ولا يكتب. أنتم في يوم جمعة اليوم ويوم رأس السنة الميلادية، هل فيكم واحد قرأ كتابا؟ اسمحوا لي، لا نقرأ ولا نعلم زوجاتنا أن تقرأ ولا أبنائنا يقرؤون. العربي يقرأ 0.79 كتابا في السنة، 3-4 كتاب، والياباني يقرأ 80 كتابا في السنة. كيف أكون أنا مثل الياباني؟ كيف أكون أنا مثل الأمريكي الأصل الذي تعلم أن يقرأ وتعلم أن يخطط وتعلم أن يباشر حياته بالدقة، بينما نحن نعيش بالعشوائية، أمة تعيش بالعواطف.
Let me begin by saying that I find this whole process to be unreal. I mean, this sort of ordeal you're being put through to account for all these words, in particular, given some of the groups that are ratcheting all this up. This group J Street that, for example, a few years ago invited the chief Palestinian negotiator, Erekat, to address their conference, a person who has justified the murder of Jews and as self-defense, is a person they invited to speak at their conference. This is a group who has routinely attacked people who hold my views with content that I find to be a smear and, quite frankly, a mischaracterization of our positions. The second thing I think you're confronting, not in this hearing per se, but writ large, is what I believe is this sort of existent orthodoxy among many of the people in the State Department and among the so-called smart people in American foreign policy that somehow the United States needs to be a fair and balanced arbiter in this situation that we're facing in the Middle East. I don't understand that view. I really don't. First of all, my view is that Israel's our strongest ally in the region. My view is that in addition to a moral obligation that we have to protect the right of the Jewish people to a homeland, especially one founded in the aftermath of the Holocaust, they also happen to be the only pro-American, free enterprise democracy in the region. That alone is reason enough to be strongly aligned to them. The second point I would make is, and I find it startling, is all these so-called professionals in the State Department and, again, among the foreign policy elite are out there all the time. I very rarely hear them stand up and speak vociferously on the sorts of activities that are being conducted by some in the Palestinian leadership. Yet they are never, never reluctant to step forward and lead the efforts to condemn Israel time and again. And this is what you're going to confront when you are confirmed in terms of some in the State Department. There's also this misconception that continues to be spread around in the letters and all this old dialogue that's around this, that you somehow have issued a wholesale rejection of the so-called two-state solution. I think you've already testified here today, and you have said before, and others have said as well, that in a perfect and ideal world you would have two independent states, a Jewish state and a Palestinian state, peacefully side by side living with one another. The problem is there are significant impediments to that, perhaps the least of which is the existence of Jewish settlements in Judea and Samaria. For example, I would say that one of the biggest obstacles to that would be efforts by the previous administration to pressure Israel and to impose upon them a negotiated settlement outside the bounds of what the Jewish people in Israel support and what is in the interest of the nation of Israel. I would say a bigger impediment is the unwillingness of the leadership of the Palestinian Authority to recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. And that is the key phrase, not just Israel's right to exist, but as the homeland for the Jewish people. That is a big impediment to a deal. Because how are you going to negotiate a peaceful coexistence with a neighbor who does not recognize your right to exist? What are you negotiating? The terms of your destruction? I think that's a much bigger impediment. Or how about the wholesale, systematic indoctrination of young Palestinians into a doctrine of hatred and the justification for the killing and the murdering of Jews that begins sadly, tragically, and outrageously at a very young age. I think that's a pretty big impediment. You know what else is a big impediment? These international efforts to impose on Israel a negotiated solution along the terms that other countries think are appropriate. I think that's a bigger impediment. You know what is a bigger impediment? The incitement to violence by leaders of the Palestinian Authority. And that isn't widely reported because often that doesn't make it into their English press releases. But when they go around justifying these attacks, when they dedicate monuments to so-called martyrs who are nothing but terrorists, when they spread ridiculous rumors about what the Israeli government's going to do on the Temple Mount or with the Dome of the Rock, these things that incite violence. And so I view these things as bigger impediments than all the other things. And I think it's accurate to say that your position is not that you are opposed to this ideal outcome in which there would be two states, but that you recognize that at this moment, given the circumstances that exist in the world today and in that region in particular, it is not likely to have that outcome. And hopefully that will change. Hopefully the Palestinians will have better leadership. Hopefully they'll be more prosperous. Hopefully they'll have an opportunity to grow their economy and their security. And maybe in 20 years, 15 years, 5 years, sooner rather than later, we all hope there will be the opportunity for this to occur. But right now, those conditions are perhaps not in place. And the worst thing we can try to do is to go in there and impose on our most loyal and important ally in the region a deal that is bad for their security and bad for their future. Is that an accurate characterization of your feelings with regards to the two-state solution?
I think it is, Senator.
من مدينة البصرة الفيحاء نتضامن مع الشعب الإسرائيلي ضد الإرهاب الفلسطيني والشعب الفلسطيني الإرهابي. خاف يقولون فوتوشوب، هذا فيديو من مدينة البصرة من جانب شرق العرب. نتضامن تضامن كامل ونطمح لبناء علاقات مع المجتمع الإسرائيلي حول المصالح المشتركة ما بين البلدين، لا صهيونية ولا بطيخية ولا كلاوات ولا قضية فلسطينية ولا هالضرات هذا اللي شبعنا من عنده. نتضامن بشكل كامل مع الشعب الإسرائيلي واللعنة الدائمة على الشعب الفلسطيني، ولا أبو حماس لا أبو أحمد ياسين لا أبو حتى ياسر عرفات.
خلاص اطلع.
أخوها لمالا لمالا
بسرعة اطلع لها.
مرحبا مرحبا بمشاهدينا الأعزاء أصدقائي. اسمي غلام برهوم، أنا باحث ومحلل يهودي إسرائيلي من مركز كيدم للأبحاث. الكارثة اليهودية أسود جريمة في الإنسانية، والحاكم من رام الله محمود عباس. الكارثة اليهودية هي خطة صناعية لإبادة أبناء الشعب اليهودي، كل الشعب اليهودي، إذا أنت يهودي صهيوني أو غير صهيوني، متدين أو غير متدين، مع بعض لسامية مكثفة ضد العنصر اليهودي. خطة النازية كانت قتل فظيع مع إهانة كل أبناء الشعب اليهودي في غرف غاز وفي المخيمات الموت. الكارثة اليهودية كما قلت أبشد جريمة في الإنسانية، فهي كانت، ولكن ولو كل هذا التاريخ الفظيع القاسي معروف، يبدو أن الشريك في رام الله محمود عباس الرئيس الفلسطيني أو ما مسمى فلسطيني، فهو اليوم منكر الكارثة اليهودية. الرئيس الذي يتكلم باللغة أجنبية باللغة إنجليزية أمام الشعوب العربية والأمريكية أنه شريك للسلام وغير منكر الكارثة اليهودية، في الواقع هو يتبوس، يتعنك مع مخربين، يعطي دعم اقتصادي للمخربين، وبالإضافة بشكل رسمي اليوم في 2016 فهو منكر الكارثة اليهودية. محمود عباس كتب في بدء الثمانينات كتاب فظيع كذبي غير معقول، إنه الحركة اليهودية الصهيونية يهود تعاونوا مع الشيطان النازي مع النازية بقتل أبناء الشعب اليهودي. كيف يعقل القول هذه التصريحات وكل هذا مكتوب وكل هذا مسجل في كتاب الوجه الآخر؟ هذا الكتاب الذي كتبه محمود عباس، فهذا الكتاب بالمعاكس ماذا يقول محمود عباس باللغة الإنجليزية، وهذا أسوأ. أقول لكم هذا الكتاب موجود في موقع الرسمي التابع للسلطة الفلسطينية. صح، ولكن محمود عباس فهو يتساءل هل أنت قرأت الكتاب؟ وأنا أقول له مباشرا صح، نحن قد قرأنا هذا الكتاب، فأنت منكر الكارثة اليهودية، أنت تكذب. ولكن إذا هو يكذب علينا في هذا الموضوع، فلماذا هو لا يكذب علينا وعليكم بالإضافة في مواضيع ثانية أخرى؟ صح، حان الوقت لعملية سلام حقيقية بين الشعبين لصالح الشعبين، الشعب اليهودي والشعب العربي. ولكن نقول للحق وللحقيقة أن ولا يمكن أن تكون عملية سلام إذا الرئيس الفلسطيني أو ما مسمى فلسطيني يتبوس ويتعنك مع مخربين، يصفق للمخربين، يعطي دعم اقتصادي اجتماعي للمخربين، وبالإضافة بالنسبة لهذا الموضوع ينكر أسوأ جريمة كانت في الإنسانية، وهي كانت يا حضرة الرئيس من فضلكم أنتم في العالم العربي في الشرق الأوسط في أنحاء العالم اذكروا ذكروا الضحايا لصالح المستقبل. شكرا لكم.
When I hear that Israel is an apartheid state, when people make that accusation, depending on the mood that I'm in on the day, I either pack out laughing or I get really, really angry, because it's an absolute lie.
To counter that lie, Meshu travels the world speaking out in support of Israel.
Welcome you. How did you get into this crusade for Israel? You're a South African.
Daisy was actually started by my father, and he came home having been exposed to what the BDS was doing on university campuses in America. And he said that if there's going to be a response, then it has to come from black South Africans in particular who suffered during apartheid. We've got a responsibility to be ambassadors for truth. And he said, okay, girl, the Mishas have got to do something about it. Come on.
Good for you. They're saying that Israel is an apartheid state. You lived under apartheid. I was there myself, witnessed apartheid, what it was. What's the difference? Israel is not an apartheid state, is it?
Absolutely not, sir. When people compare Israel, the most democratic states in the Middle East, to what we suffered, what my parents in particular suffered and the generations before me, it actually trivializes what they went through. And so we have a responsibility to let the world know that a people that just want to see the destruction of Israel can't take our history and repackage it just because they want to see another nation's demise.
You've been to Israel. How many times have you been there?
I've been three times.
3 times. Well, it is a free society, but I'm sure that they have to have a law and order.
من هي إسرائيل؟ شنو تمثل إسرائيل؟ هل هي دولة؟ هل هو جماعة، منظمة إرهابية، كيان؟ كيف ممكن أن نفسرها قبل أن نبدأ في عمق الموضوع؟
دولة إسرائيل شئنا أم أبينا هي دولة مستقلة ذات سيادة، لها وجود ولها مقعد في الأمم المتحدة، وأكثر الدول المحبة للسلام والديمقراطية تعترف بها. بقي مجموعة من الدول لا تعترف بها، وهي دول الاستبداد والقمع. مثلا على ذلك كوريا الشمالية لا تعترف بإسرائيل، ولكن هذا لا يضير الدولة وأنها موجودة شئنا أم أبينا. دولة إسرائيل تملك من المراكز العلمية والجامعات ما لا تملكه أعتى الدول العربية وأقدم الدول العربية. فدولة إسرائيل هي دولة وليست منظمة إرهابية، هي دولة كما قلت مستقلة وشرعية نعم. أخذت شرعيتها من مكانتها في الأمم المتحدة. أما ما تفضل به أبو سيف من أن هذا كيان غاصب، فهذا مردود عليه دينيا وسياسيا.
كيف؟
دينيا الآية رقم 21 من سورة المائدة تثبت أن بني إسرائيل لهم الحق في الأرض المقدسة. قال الله تعالى: وإذ قال موسى لقومه يا قوم ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. إذن الله كتبها لهم ولم يكونوا كيانا غاصبا لها. الكيان الغاصب هو من كان فيها قبل أن يدخلها بني إسرائيل. وبالتالي أنا لا أميل إلى الشعارات والعبارات والمفردات التي عفى عليها الزمن مثل كيان غاصب وصهيوني وغيره. ولا ينفي أنني عربي اعترافي بإسرائيل أبدا. أنا أعترف بإسرائيل أنها دولة وحقيقة واقعة، ولكن لا أنكر عروبتي ولا أنكر انتمائي للدول العربية.
أنا ما أعرف يعني. شوف، خلينا نحدد إطار الموضوع. القضية الفلسطينية عموما واحتلال فلسطين، هل هو قضية عربية ولا قضية دينية؟
ليس هناك احتلال، ليس هناك احتلال. هناك شعب عاد إلى أرضه الموعودة. هل تعرف تاريخ بني إسرائيل؟ ضارب في القدم، وتاريخ بني إسرائيل قبل الإسلام، وبالتالي يجب أن نعترف ونحن مسلمين أن بني إسرائيل لهم الحق في هذه الأرض ولم يغتصبوها. الذي يقول أنها مغتصبة هم الذين ما زالوا يفكرون بعقلية 1950 وما قبل ذلك.
جميل جدا.
وفي عام 1948 عندما أنشئت دولة إسرائيل لم يكن هناك وجود لدولة اسمها فلسطين.
يعني من وين احنا جبنا هذا الاسم واللي قاعد ندافع عنه في أكثر من 60 عام؟
لا، هذا تخيل
ما يكون
ليس له موجود، ليس له وجود أبدا. هم عبارة عن شتات متشتت في بعض الدول العربية، وكانوا يسمون الكنعانيين أو العماليق أو لها أسماء متعددة جدا، حتى أن الآية الكريمة قالت إن فيها قوما جبارين، كان من يسميهم الجبارين. وبالتالي لا وجود لدولة اسمها فلسطين، وأصر أنا على ذلك.
ماشي. كان لك مقالة أبو بدر ذكرت فيها حرفيا يا ليتني كنت جنديا إسرائيليا.
نعم.
يعني هل وصل يعني الآن هو الموضوع ما عاد يعني موضوع اعتراف فقط. أنت اليوم تتمنى أن تكون جندي في هذا.
نعم.
وما تربطها بلسانك، تربطها كشباب عربي.
نعم.
يعني تربطها بأن الشباب العربي يتمنى أن يكون جنود لإسرائيل. هل هذا منطقي وواقعي؟
هذا المقال كتب عام 2006 عندما خطف الجندي الإسرائيلي جلعاد شاليط. وأمنيتي أن أكون جنديا إسرائيليا ليس المقصود بها أن أحمل السلاح وأحارب مع إسرائيل. الأمنية هي أن الدولة هي دولة إسرائيل كيف انتفضت عن بكرة أبيها لتدافع عن جندي واحد إسرائيلي. فأنا أقول يا ليتني كنت جنديا حتى تدافع عني دولتي. بالله عليك لو كان هذا الجندي في دولة عربية دون أن أسمي دولة،
المقال موجود،
دون أن أسمي دولة معينة، هل كانت أمته أو كانت دولته أو كان رئيس دولته حينتفض نفس الانتفاض الذي انتفضته إسرائيل لآلاف القتلى من الدول العربية ولا أحد يهتم بهم؟ أنا الحقيقة أتحفظ على كلمة تطبيع، وأرجو أن نسميها التعايش السلمي مع دولة إسرائيل.
وهذا اللي ما عملوا به مصر والأردن.
بالضبط، هو تعايش سلمي.
وشنو كان نتيجته؟
استفادوا الطرفين.
فهل نحن اليوم كعرب وكمسلمين يجب أن نقف مع الإسرائيليين ضد حزب الله؟
هناك مقولة لدولة أو لرئيس دولة خليجية كبرى تقول لدي استعداد أن أتحالف مع الشيطان ضد الكيان الفارسي.
طيب،
والشيطان هنا يقصد به إسرائيل،
واضح.
لأن هم يسموه إسرائيل الشيطان. ولكن أنا أقول لماذا لا أتعايش سلميا مع إسرائيل وأتعاون معها على رد عدوي الكبير اللي هو النظام الفارسي.
والكيان الصهيوني ضد إيران؟
النظام الفارسي يتباهى بأنه احتل 4 عواصم عربية وسيحتل الخامسة. هل قالت إسرائيل هذا الكلام أو تباهت بأنها احتلت شيء؟ لم تتباهى، لأنها لم تحتل، هي جاءت إلى بلدها. أما الكيان الفارسي الإيراني فهو كيان مغتصب. أنا أؤيد أن يكون هناك تحالف ثلاثي بين إسرائيل والدول الخليجية العربية وأمريكا لمحو شيء اسمه حزب الله من الوجود، محو كامل لا تقوم له قائمة.
Hi, this is Karen. I'm an Armenian. I was born in the States, and I'm making this video mainly in rebuttal to a video I saw last week by an Australian Arab who claims Palestinian roots, and she had a lot to say that was not true, and I wanted to rebut it. It was disturbing to many, and it's been in my mind, so here I am. And she kept talking about ethnic cleansing, murderous expulsions, and I don't know what she's talking about. It's all lies. There is no ethnic cleansing, never was. Murderous expulsions, that is what the Muslims are trying to do to the Jews. They want to intimidate them to leave, but they will never leave because Israel is historical Jewish land. And one of the points she said is that today's Israel is not biblical Israel. Yes, she's right. It's not biblical Israel. This is the only thing that she got right, because biblical Israel was much larger. It contained Jordan, parts of Lebanon, and parts of Syria, and it was huge. And you know what? It will be restored one day. The Lord will assure that. She said Israel started with terror and continues with terror. It's all lies. In the 20s and 30s, the Muslims used to kill Jews. Okay, this is before pre-48 days, okay? This is when supposedly they coexisted. There was peace. No, there wasn't. There wasn't peace. And it wasn't until 1938 when the Jews finally said enough is enough, and Irgun, Jewish militants, popped up and started killing the Arabs and the Muslims. And I'm not saying that was right either. Neither was right. But this is mentioned to prove the fact that there was no coexistence in peace before, and it wasn't all hunky-dory. And this is why the British wanted to get rid of the British Mandate of Palestine, which was British controlled. And I stress that because the Arabs of today say Israel stole Palestine from them. No, I'm sorry, it was never Arab ruled. I repeat, BMP was British ruled. It was never Arab ruled. You've got to get over that. This is a propaganda lie from the pit of hell that Arabs keep repeating, and it is a lie, strictly that. The other thing she said is Israel was created against Judaism. Excuse me? God himself said, I will bring you back to the land. Not to Argentina, but to the land. Where is the land? The land is Israel. And yes, of course, like I mentioned, it was much bigger before. So this is definitely with Judaism, not against Judaism. And Zionism, she said, is an insult to Christianity. This is false. All Bible-believing Christians, as I am, are Zionists, period. I forgot to mention at the beginning, I am a Christian. I'm not a Jew, and I'm not a Muslim. No comment on that last statement. Arabs defending themselves is incitement to violence, is teaching hatred, defending themselves. No, I'm sorry. It's all part of their ploy, and the way that it's madness. That's what it is, actually. I personally think it's satanic, stemmed from their religion, but Arabs are not defending themselves in the Arab occupied territories of Israel. What they're doing is they're teaching their children violence, hatred, slaughter. Every evil that you could think of is okay for them. And it's wrong. And what they're doing nowadays is the children are going into different parts of Jerusalem, Gush Etzion, all over Israel, and trying to kill Jews. And you know what? Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're failing. And the times that they fail, supposedly they have planted knives. Oh, really? Well, what about the times that they succeed? Anyways, it's all a bunch of bullshit, and it's wrong what they're doing. And I stand with the Jews. Stop killing Jews. And what else did she say? She said so many dumb things. She said that the European Jews came to Israel. You know what? Jews are Jews. 850,000 Jews were expelled from the neighboring countries all over, and they came to Israel. What were they supposed to do? Where were they supposed to go? Go to Argentina? No. Israel is historically Jewish land, and they've been wanting the BMP to give it to them, and that's what they did. They gave a partition to the Jews and to the Arabs. And the Jews said yes, created Israel, and the Arabs said no. Tough luck, you lost it, and you lost more. And you know what? Get over it. It's old, and there's a limitation on this. It's been nearly 70 years. Get over it. Israel is Israel. It was, it is, and it always will be. Blessed be his name. Thank you very much.
In just the last few days, there was a terror attack in the heart of Tel Aviv, a massacre in Orlando. In France, a Muslim jihadist lunatic went onto Facebook Live and executed a mother and father in front of their 3-year-old. In Amarillo, Texas, there was a hostage situation, but thank God it was in Texas, because those Texans took him out. They call it a workplace accident, but the guy's name just happened to be Mohammed. And all along, President Barack Obama and John Kerry in the U.S. administration refused to call it Islamic terrorism. President Obama came out with a statement explaining why he refuses to call it Islamic terrorism. And what I want to do is I want to break this speech apart and bring a little bit of clarity on what really is going on.
For a while now, the main contribution of some of my friends on the other side of the aisle have made in the fight against ISIL.
Well, here, President Obama, is your first mistake. We're not at war with ISIS or ISIL, as you call them. We're at war with radical Islam. We're at war with Al-Qaeda. We're at war with the Hezbollah. We're at war with the Hamas. We are at war with these radical Islamic movements, not with an organization.
For not using the phrase radical Islam. That's the key, they tell us. We can't beat ISIL unless we call them radical Islamists. What exactly would using this label accomplish?
What will it accomplish? Well, if you know you're at war with radical Islam, you won't give the Ayatollah $150 billion because you know what you're at war with. America, under your leadership, has become the largest global sponsor of terror around the world because you think you're fighting against some sort of hate crimes or you're fighting against one particular organization.
What exactly would it change?
If you recognize we're at war with radical Islam, you can wage war against radical Islam. If you don't recognize we're at war with radical Islam, you just may end up giving them billions of dollars and help fund their terror activities around the world. If you don't know who you're fighting, how can you win the war?
Would it make ISIL less committed to trying to kill Americans?
Stop saying ISIL. Al-Qaeda killed you in 9/11, and the Hamas would kill you if they could. It's not about labeling them. It's actually about understanding entire foreign policy in the Middle East.
Would it bring in more allies? Is there a military strategy that is served by this?
Indeed, there is a military strategy when going to war. And you know what you've done to your allies? You've alienated all of them or backstabbed the other. Do you remember Egypt? They were an ally of the United States of America. They were not radical Muslims, but you encouraged the Muslim Brotherhood to overthrow their government. Israel has never felt more separated from the United States. So your allies you've alienated and your enemies you've funded. That is not smart.
Calling a threat by a different name does not make it go away.
Calling it a name won't make it go away? Very good. So let's not call them anything. Let's not say anything. Let's not do anything. Let's go out for ice cream and coffee. It's not about calling them a name. It's about actually understanding what's happening in the Islamic world in the Middle East. Because, folks, it's happening. We've been saying this for years. The Muslims are coming to America, and some of them, not all of them, but some of them are going to kill you.
There's not been a moment in my 7.5 years as president where we have not...
It's so brilliant how you're trying to minimize this into a label or not a label. Yes, there hasn't been a moment you haven't pursued a strategy, but all of your strategies have been counterproductive, in fact, dangerous. You've given the Ayatollah in Iran billions of dollars and paved a way for them to achieve a nuclear bomb. Do you know what happened if that killer in Orlando would have had a nuclear bomb? He wouldn't have just killed 50 people in Orlando. He would have detonated in Manhattan and in Los Angeles and killed millions of people if only he could. And you know who your greatest ally is in fighting global jihad? Israel. And do you know what you've done to Israel? You've backstabbed us and thrown us under the bus time and time again. What's going on spiritually in the world? Here are my thoughts. Here we have Israel, and we are right now in a clash of civilizations. We are in the middle of a clash of ideas, a spiritual war. On the West, on one hand, we have a postmodern world, which really, if we were to talk in biblical terms, we would just call them pagans, meaning one person has one God, one person has another God, we can switch gods, there's no real truth. What's ultimate truth? There are multiple gods, multiple forces, everyone has their own reality, there's no borders, there's no good, there's no ultimate evil. A boy can be a girl can be a boy, let's build them all bathrooms, it doesn't really matter. Here we have one society that has no truth. On the other side, in the East, what do we have? We have people from the jihadist movement that are declaring they have ultimate truth. And in their ultimate truth, they're going to kill the infidel. They're going to kill the homosexual. They're going to stone the adulterers. And then you know what happens? The people in the West say, you see what happens when you have ultimate truth? You end up with people like jihadist John that are chopping off people's heads. And here they are coming now claiming ultimate truth, but really worshiping ultimate evil, worshiping death, worshiping child sacrifice. Yes, today it's not to Molech in fire, it's to Allah with a suicide strap. One way or the other, they're worshiping evil. And in the West, they worship nothing. And so here we have Israel stuck in between them all. And what is our message? We believe there is an ultimate truth. There's an ultimate reality. Within the fabric of creation itself, the Creator, who is the creation, who is one with the creation, said there is a way the world was meant to function, a perfect life, which is based on justice and compassion, righteousness and goodness. And we are here to bring that light to the world, to those they say there is no truth, and to those that have the wrong truth. And then what are they going to say now that the Orlando attack was because of the 1967 borders and the occupation of the West Bank? Is that what happened to that family in France because of the occupation of the West Bank? No, folks, we're in a spiritual war, and they're coming after the Jew, and they're coming after the Christian, and you know what, Berkeley? They're coming after you too. They're coming after all of us. And you know what the Jews in Israel are waiting for? We're waiting for you to leave, because soon November will be coming, and